Sports Network. This is Mountaineer Talk, presented by UNC Health Blue Ridge. UNC Health Blue Ridge, your weekly inside scoop on App State basketball. Mountaineer Talk is also brought to you by Pepsi. Grab a Pepsi and some friends and get in the game. Pepsi, the official soft drink of your App State Mountaineers. And by UNC Health Blue Ridge, moving healthcare forward together. Now, to get things started, here's your host, Matt Present.
Good evening. Welcome to Mountaineer Talk here at River Street Ale House. Thanks for being with us a day late this week, but glad everyone's safe and sound with the snow. As hopefully we're nearing the end of winter, but not yet the end of basketball season. Still a week at home this week for App State women, and the men closing out their season on the road, trying to lock up a regular season title this week. So certainly a big week on the hardwood. Riley Stoker alongside, going to kick off the show tonight. Chad Moodie will come your way at the bottom of the hour. And, of course, the head coaches, Alaura Sharp and Dustin Kerns. If you have a question for any of them, plenty of ways to interact with the show here tonight. You can tweet us using the hashtag Mountaineer Talk. You can email us, mountaineertalk@gmail.com, or text us, 828-278-9850. Again, on the text line, 828-278-9850. Riley, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for being with us.
Of course.
All right, a freshman from Davie, Florida. Tell us how App State first got on your radar and what made you come to Boone.
It was at AAU tournaments. I got an offer from Coach Sharp, and then eventually I came on a visit here, and I loved it. Ended up being my only official visit, and then ended up committing later.
All right. What do you remember about that visit? What stood out most that made you fall in love with App State?
For me, it would have to be the coaching staff. It's like a family here. Everybody loves everybody. And then the school itself too. It's a good school, good place to be. So.
There's always a learning curve transitioning from high school to college. What has the experience been like for you as someone who, clearly you've done okay in that you're now really getting increased minutes down the stretch, becoming a big contributor off the bench. How did you get from being a high school senior and obviously excelling in high school to getting up to speed at the college level?
I don't know. I think just your teammates and coaches just having confidence in you, and then it brings confidence onto yourself, and just knowing that they believe in you just lets you believe in yourself too. So I think that, so I don't know, I feel like I just think my teammates are really supportive, and they're always there for me, and I'm always there for them, and that's how it is. So.
When did you start shooting the three ball? Is that a recent development, or was that something you were doing in high school?
No, I've shot three in high school. It's just, I think just adjusting to college, it's just taking a little bit for me, and so just knocking down these last couple of threes that I did.
You've hit some big ones recently.
Yeah, it's nice.
Alaura Sharp talks about the fact that everyone on the team does a lot of individual player development in addition to what you guys do in practice as a group. What have those sessions been like for you in your first year?
Probably just being strong with the ball. It's a different level now, so it's just something I need to get used to and comfortable with. I feel like we've been working on a lot of coming off of screens and getting open for shots and stuff like that. So I think that would also be another adjustment, I would say. Yeah.
You say stronger, and that made me think that there's probably an adjustment in addition to just playing, that is nutrition, weight room, recovery. What has that been like to kind of experience what it is like to be a Division I athlete in those areas.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like in high school, especially for me, my high school, we didn't have like any of that stuff. So it's nice, like all the weight room, nutrition, all of that, recovery. It's nice to have that, and I definitely put it to use. So
yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
All right, you grew up in a military family.
Yeah.
What was that experience like?
Just we've moved around like a couple times, not a lot. And yeah, I would just say Florida's that's where I've been the longest, so that's what I consider home.
Was there an element of, because your parents were in the military, something that was instilled in you throughout that experience that may have translated to basketball?
I don't know, I just think like strictness, I guess you could say. Like my mom was very big on like being on time, showing up, like looking the part and all of that. So I think that is carried over, and I think that's like it's a good like thing to have, like to know.
Yeah, I would say that translates.
Yeah.
All right, you're majoring in chemistry here at App State.
Yeah.
How intense has that been?
It's been intense.
Yeah.
So far, especially like this semester, like we've been missing a lot of class, so it's been hard, but it is what it is.
What about chemistry interests you? What is it in that field that you think you might want to do?
I don't know. I don't really know where I want to go from there, but yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Outside of basketball, outside of class, when you're just hanging out with your teammates, what is it that you have found yourself enjoying most about Boone?
I would say I like to watch sunsets, and so we get pretty nice sunsets here in Boone.
Yeah, there are a few good spots for that.
Yeah, with the mountains, so it's nice.
So you guys go up to the Parkway?
Yeah, every now and then, yeah.
Awesome. All right, as you guys enter this final week of the regular season, certainly some excitement towards the end of the year to finish strong and to send your seniors out right. What's the message been like leading into this week so far?
Just to fight, give it your all. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we as a team, like we've been so close with games, and so I feel like these last two games, like these need to be like our breakthrough games for us to get these last two wins and then go into conference play. So yeah, just fight, give it all you have, and yeah.
That's perfect. We look forward to seeing you do that here this week. Riley, it's been great to get to know you a little bit, and looking forward to watching your development continue. Best of luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Riley Stoker joining us here on Mountaineer Talk, kicking off tonight's show. Mountaineer Talk is brought to you by UNC Health Blue Ridge, moving healthcare forward together. And today's student-athlete interview brought to you by Alumni Hall, the official online store of App State Athletics. Shop the latest and largest selection of App State apparel, hats, Yeti, and all of your game day gear, including brands like Nike, by visiting Alumni Hall on King Street, or shop anytime at appstatesports.com or alumnihall.com. Alumni Hall, the ultimate Mountaineer shopping destination. It's Mountaineer Talk, presented by UNC Health Blue Ridge, and it continues right after this. Welcome back to Mountaineer Talk here on this Tuesday night this week here at River Street Ale House. Thanks so much for joining us in person and wherever you're watching or listening. Head coach Alaura Sharp alongside. All right, Coach, last week of the regular season, it's amazing how it flies by. What has it been like to realize that you've just got a few games left and then it's tournament time?
It's hard to believe how fast it goes. Especially you're just in the middle of things, taking it one day at a time, trusting the process, and then all of a sudden one day you've got 2 home games left, and they're both really important for us, and working hard to try to bump our seed up and be playing really good basketball going into March. But there's also part of me that has been looking forward to erasing and going 0-0 and then just taking it one game at a time.
We'll get into the week ahead here coming up a little bit, but I want to talk about Riley Stoker and what it's been like to see her development. And I think the first place you look is just simply her minutes, going from consistently single-digit minutes early in the year where she's impressed you enough as a freshman to get on the court, and now here down the stretch, not only that, but really factoring into the rotation.
I think when you're a freshman, it's about making the most of your opportunities. And I think it's really hard. We've talked about this earlier on a different radio show, that it's hard to stay confident and keep yourself going when your minutes are so spotty as a freshman. And then when Jaden McBride got hurt, to me, Riley Stoker made the absolute most of that opportunity. And we played really good basketball with her playing major minutes. She's shown her athleticism, ability to rebound. She helps us run good offense. She's super skilled. She's been shooting the ball really well for us. Obviously, her bright side and future is really, really bright. Her upside is really, really high. I think she's still only scratched the surface of how good she can be. And the funny thing about Riley is, when you're working really hard when you first get the job. I remember I was living in a hotel. We had visits every single weekend since we'd gotten here, and almost every single day since we had been here. And I had given the staff a Saturday off. And I remember thinking, I'm not going to be able to build this program by sitting in the Fairfield Inn. And so I ended up going to Tennessee and watching an AAU tournament, and that's where I saw Riley for the first time. And then we ended up offering her. She was really the highlight of that tournament. And I'm so glad I went to that tournament, because then we ended up signing her, and she'll be someone that'll be woven into the fabric of App State women's basketball.
So when you decided to go that day to Tennessee to this tournament, was she on your mind, or she just stood out to you that day?
Yeah, I didn't know who she was. I remember just out of pure fatigue and being overwhelmed, I remember literally crying in the car driving to the tournament, just like, oh my gosh, I was, replaying the end of Presbyterian and those players, and then everything that was happening at that, at App, and all the work that we had to do and still had to do. And then, I just kind of had a moment in the car, and then I 3 hours or whatever to Knoxville, and it was like 5 o'clock in the morning. I was driving over there, and then I just stumbled onto her court. I didn't know who she was. I didn't really have a giant player list that I was watching. We call it fishing. I was literally just kind of going fishing at the tournament and stumbled onto the right court. I remember when I first watched her thinking, I don't know if we can get her, and so when we called her and started talking to her, and she played in a great high school program, and she's someone who really helped build that program into something special.
I imagine her height stood out early. What else do you remember noticing right away about her game?
I think that she does a little bit of everything. She guards, she rebounds. I love guards that can rebound and start the transition offense. She's super skilled, can pass, can score at 3 levels. She's got a nice little pull-up jumper. She's slimy, getting to the rim. We call her slim. And but she's worked hard. Her strength from when she started to now, our freshmen have been in what we call a pro lift. So when everyone else's lifting has gone down days of the week, the freshmen have stayed in the weight room. They lift almost the day before games, after games. They're lifting multiple days a week, and that's really paid off for Riley.
As I was looking at your schedule and looking at the week ahead, I realized that your last 5 games, so the last 3 and the next 2, all are Sunbelt East teams that you're facing for a second time. As you prepare for the second meeting with the team, what is the difference in preparation second time around once you have that game film from the first game?
Well, I think, just being able to make adjustments and figure out exactly how did they guard you, what worked. You're trying to anticipate what do you feel like that team's going to do again, what maybe new things will they try to do to hurt you, what went well for you, and then selling that and addressing that with our team. I mean, the thing about our team and where we are, we have probably one of the youngest teams in the Sun Belt. We have multiple freshmen and sophomores playing major minutes. We're literally 19 points away from being 16-11 and being in the top of the league. We can beat anybody. We can compete with anybody. We've competed on people's home floors. We've competed at ours. It's just the process of figuring out how to close the door on teams in the end. And we have such an opportunity tomorrow with Georgia Southern. They're down to playing about 7 kids. So being able to get out in transition, all of a sudden we're starting to get players back. We're starting to get a little bit healthier as a group. And so I think we will be back to a full roster by the time we get into the conference tournament, which is awesome, and hopefully the punch that we need to get over the hump.
I'm sure when you're in it, if you will, it's hard to look ahead, but in this day and age in college basketball, and I think the Sun Belt's a great example of so many teams are trying to add those really veteran players or grad transfers or what have you. And I know it's been tough this season. You mentioned having a young team, but how much do you think about, okay, next year when this core group is a year older, they're not going to have to come in and learn something new. They're going to hit the ground running and just kind of what the future might look like.
Yeah, I think when you look at the top 8 teams in our league, they're very senior dominant and they're very returner dominant. So I was actually having this conversation with the Coastal Carolina head coach because we're both kind of in the same boat. He did return one all-conference player, but he has a whole new roster. They're trying to figure things out. They've been in all their games. They're kind of right at the same place that we are, and him and I were both talking about we feel like, we find a way to retain our rosters. We'll both be in the situation where everybody else was this year because different than the men, I think the men lost a lot of their first team and second team to the portal, where in our conference, if you look at the first team and second team, they all returned. Now, this year, all those really top players will be graduating. The 6th year, the 5th year. Hopefully the rules stay the same, right? The rules have continued to change and in the middle of the year, and so our league has been really, really old and really, really senior dominant. And so I think it's great. I mean, we've gotten some young players with a lot of major minutes and experience, and we've competed and we've been right there.
Yeah, certainly exciting to think about what this group has in store moving forward. All right, plenty more to get to this week. We'll talk about your seniors and all the folks that help out behind the scenes that make this program what it is. Plenty more to get to with head coach Alaura Sharp. Tonight's show brought to you in part by the Peddlin' Pig. Thank you to the Peddlin' Pig for their continued support of App State Athletics. More Mountaineer talk coming your way right after this. Welcome back to Mountaineer Talk, continuing our conversation tonight with head coach Alaura Sharp. And coach, it's a big week at home. Georgia Southern on Wednesday, and then Friday night against Old Dominion. Let's start with Stroll night. I had never heard of Stroll until I started hearing about it in preparation for Wednesday's game. When did Stroll, and this is a dance that is being performed at halftime on Wednesday, so certainly another reason, in addition to watching your team play, to come out and watch. How did Stroll get on your radar?
Well, we need to get Cassie Nichols up on the radio to figure out how Stroll night came in, because I think she was really behind that. But, just getting our fraternities involved, it's going to be awesome. Everyone should come out and check that out. If you haven't seen anything like it, it's highly entertaining. It's our Black History Month game, so we're excited to celebrate all the history and being able to celebrate even our fraternities. And the strolling is awesome. Last year, I think we kind of got the idea because when we played at Georgia Southern last year, we were able to go watch our men's team play the night before we played, and they had a stroll night, and it was awesome. The gym was rocking, and so we wanted to kind of steal that idea.
Yeah, that sounds really fun. All right, and then Friday night, regular season finale. I know it's hard to believe it's here already, but it's senior day. So let's just run down your senior class, the folks that you're honoring on Friday night, and just give me one anecdote or memory about each senior that will kind of last with you. So we'll start with Jada Burton.
Yeah, Jada Burton. I love that kid. She is really starting to play well for us. She's, it took her a little bit to kind of get her footing in our system and figure things out, but she's really enjoying basketball. Yesterday I asked them what they love about the game of basketball, and it literally made her emotional talking about it, and it's coming to an end and it's coming to a close. She's one who had a COVID year and a JUCO year, so she's made the most of her career, but excited to be with her on Friday.
All right, Zoe McCrary.
Yeah, Zoe came to us from College of Charleston. It's been quite the roller coaster with Zoe. We're so happy that she came back after her injury, and she's funny. She's mature. She's somebody that has a lot of hobbies and has just been someone who's been a real foundation layer for our program.
Elena Pericic.
Yeah, obviously last week having her on the radio, hitting the buzzer beater, that'll be probably one of my favorite memories with Elle. But she's funny, she's brutally honest, and she's a good basketball player. I think she played great on Saturday. Excited to see what the next couple games have in store for her.
Emily Heggie.
Heggie's someone that App State was her dream school. We got her as a Division II transfer. She was an All-American, I believe, and someone who can really score, has, really given a lot to App State. Obviously, she grew up, coming to football games and being around App State. So, she's been shooting the ball really well for us in the last few games. So, again, looking forward to see how she plays down the stretch.
All right, and lastly, Emma Smith.
Yeah, Emma. I'm not sure any player has filled up so many categories as Emma. It's amazing what she's done: steals, defense, rebounding, scoring, assists. It's pretty impressive what she's done in her time here. Obviously, one of the smartest players that I've ever coached, super scrappy, and, just thankful for her commitment to the program this last year.
All right, and as we round out the year, there's so many folks from your staff to managers. Let's start there. The folks on the operations side and the managers that help things go behind the scenes with food, with travel, with transportation, all the things that come together, hopefully unnoticed.
Yeah, I think seniors, you're saying?
No, just in general, what that group has brought.
Yeah, I want to talk about our practice squad. I don't think I've talked about them on the radio show. We're getting ready to I think, put a video out about them. We have practice guys, and we recruit them. We go watch them in the rec center. We hand select who we want. They've got to go through all the same process that our players do, from they've got to get a physical, they've got to do all this testing, and they show up every single day. Yesterday we're on conditioning conditioned to, they're at practice. Today there's no, school doesn't start till whatever, they're in practice. Christmas break, Thanksgiving, they're in practice. They are fully dedicated to our program, and they do it for free. Today someone was number 24 and number 0 and this and that, and they go and they watch film and they study and they come to the games and they watch our games online. They are really a part of our team and program. Managers, we've got a couple of seniors, Gabe Jones and Johnny, they both came with us from Presbyterian. Same thing, managers, they don't get paid. Ops people, getting ready for the tournament, working ahead. It's definitely a well-oiled machine, and just so thankful for everyone that's poured into our program.
I want to follow up on the practice players because you talk about their ability to watch film and serve the scout team role. What kind of skill set, you talk about putting them through drills. Okay, you can tell how well someone shoots or passes the ball. How are you able to identify the scouting role in that skill set when you're identifying these folks?
Well, not all of them are equal as far as how well they run some of the things. We have gotten to a group of 7 that really run things well, and we try to keep them on the floor as much as possible, but we go watch them play. Some of them are on the club team, and they travel and they compete with the App State club team, and so those have been some of the best ones because they're the most experienced at kind of competing and do a really good job. But most of them played in high school. Every once in a while you'll have one that maybe only played in middle school, but for the most part they've competed. They love it. Some of them want to be coaches. Some of them got turned down by the men's staff to be practice players or walk-ons, so we're quick to shimmy in and scoop up those kind of guys because those are the guys that make great practice players for us.
Well, I'm certainly sure that you're glad in how they've elevated your team this year, Coach. It's been great having you all season long. Best of luck on this final homestand this week.
Thank you so much.
Alaura Sharp with us here tonight on Mountaineer Talk, and again closing out the season Wednesday night at home against Georgia Southern at 6:30, and then again on 6:30 on Friday night as they host Old Dominion. And Friday's game against Old Dominion brought to you by the App State Residence Hall Association. Thank you to the App State Residence Hall Association for their continued support of App State athletics. Stay tuned. We will take a timeout and then switch gears to the men's side. Chad Moodie joining us right after this as Mountaineer Talk, presented by UNC Health Blue Ridge, continues next. Welcome back to Mountaineer Talk. Thanks again for being with us here tonight at River Street Ale House or wherever you're listening along as we shift gears to the men's side. Chad Moodie joins us and Dustin Kerns will follow. And if you want to reach out, ask a question to them, use the hashtag Mountaineer Talk on Twitter, mountaineertalk@gmail.com, or by text 828-278-9850, 828-278-9850. Chad, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good,
Good. It's good to have you. All right, let's talk about your journey to App State. You grew up in Grayson, Georgia, started your college career at Alabama A&M.
Yes, sir.
2 years there, and then went into the transfer portal. What was it that jumped out about App State through that secondary recruiting process?
So I had entered the portal early. Definitely knew I was going to leave Alabama A&M. But it was kind of easy for me for App State because Coach Kerns was probably one of the first. Actually, the first person to hit me up that day, and had a good talk with him. And he called me every single day from that point on. Some people might say it's annoying, but I mean that shows that he was really interested in me, really wanted me. And then I came down for my visit late April, late March, and then visit was great. I enjoyed it, had everything I was looking for. And then Coach Kerns actually told me later on that he had wanted me since my freshman year. After we played South Alabama, I had my first double-double in my career against South Alabama. He told me ever since that day, it's like he told the coaches like he wanted me. He's been on me since ever since then. And once I heard that, I knew it was the right spot, and it was an easy decision.
That's awesome. That's a cool story. Certainly, you talk about your double-doubles, scoring and rebounding. Shot blocking, though, has also been a huge part of your game. How would you describe, what's the key to being a good shot blocker? What's kind of the art behind it?
I think for me, because I have, a quick first step or first jump, as people would say, a lot of my blocks, if you really look at it, is offside, helping the person driving by. So I just wait till the shot goes up, then I go up and get it. There's not really too much to it. I just wait because I don't want to go into their body, foul them so much. But with the whole verticality stuff, it's good to meet them outside the paint.
So you're saying that you're not trying to time it, you're more trying to react to it.
I'm more reacting, yeah.
Okay,
reaction.
That's interesting. You talk about verticality. I think that's a great transition because, this team talks about it a lot and how the Mountaineers play team defense. How have you embraced the team defense about this group and also just the way in which you and this team is able to play without fouling so consistently?
I feel like it's definitely enriched to our program. Coach Kerns always says defense travels. No matter where we go, if it's on the road, at home, that's one thing that's constant for our team. And I feel like we've really bought into that, and we've seen the proof in the pudding with that. Probably being the top defense in the league, and being the top right now for record standings. But at first, it was a process. We have these different drills and stuff we do. It'd be tiring sometimes, but we know at the end of the day it was worth it. So, and it shows in games, and it's now won us some big games, big moments.
What's a drill that during it you're like, man, I want to be done with it, but in retrospect you're like, this really helped us?
I want to applaud Coach Kerns because we do a bunch of defensive drills. Some stuff you don't even think about, but I would say during our so-called process, there's a drill where we have to slide from free throw line to half court, back slide to the middle, close out, and then have to go verticality. But it's tiring, but that's just a real life game situation. So I feel like it's tiring at the moment, but it's going to be worth it when it comes time for the game.
Yeah, no doubt. You guys are coming off a big one on Saturday, sending your seniors out with a win against Georgia Southern. How much fun was that to be a part of in your final game at the home center this year and to do it for those guys?
Case and Zoe, Todd, those are my guys. I run with Todd. Me and him been close this summer. Queso, I've known him as another Georgia boy, and then Zoe, of course, being, the anchor for our team. It was really nice. It was really good. I told Todd before we left, I was like, we're gonna get this dub for you. I promise we're gonna get this dub. But doing it in that fashion, ending the game how it did, it was great. And you never want that bitter feeling, bitter taste behind, I lost on senior night. You want to always go out and win. So I was great that we was able to celebrate and win that game for them.
You mentioned being one of a few Georgia guys on this team.
Yeah.
What's the emotion like when you get to go on the road and play at Georgia State and Georgia Southern and have family and friends there supporting you?
No, it means a lot. I definitely, for those games, I make sure I get my tickets ready because I know people are going to show up. For sure, State was a big one. It's kind of some bad blood behind them, but that's not really important. But we had to make sure we won that game, especially, dropping that one at home. And then Southern, it was just more of an attitude. Like, you can't, for it being more of a rivalry, going down there, handling business, and doing it in that fashion was big. So that was good. Good feeling.
You mentioned rooming with Jalen Tott. I know that you've talked about and he's mentioned that you're a cook.
Yeah.
What have you been making for dinner recently?
So this year actually I learned how to make steak with a skillet. So I've been making steak. My favorite cut is New York strip. So I'm making steak, potatoes, green beans, or broccoli. I always make sliders for the guys. I make pasta. I love chicken Alfredo. What else do I make? I would say any type of chicken. I cut it up. I could, bake chicken, barbecue with some mashed potatoes, fries. I actually made mashed potatoes for the first time last week. So there's a variety of different stuff. Wings
there you go.
Too.
That's quite a rotation.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Still learning.
Chad, congratulations on the success this season. Let's keep it rolling. Finish it off on Friday night. Appreciate your time.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Chad Moodie joining us here tonight on a Mountaineer Talk. And App State football season ticket holders, they can renew season tickets online right now to once again pack the rock this upcoming season. Renew your season tickets by April 15th to lock in current pricing for both the 2026 and 2027 seasons. Head to appstatesports.com/tickets to get yours today. All right, we'll take a timeout. Head coach Dustin Kerns coming up next, and we've got a giveaway for you here at Ale House. So we'll tell you about that when Mountaineer Talk continues right after this. Welcome back to Mountaineer Talk here on this Tuesday edition at River Street Ale House. Head coach Dustin Kerns alongside his comments presented by Blue Ridge Energy, powering a brighter future. All right, we've got a special giveaway tonight.
Well, I just I appreciate everybody coming out all season. I just was in my locker changing. I found a little quarter zip with the tag on it, so I thought, you know what, let's give it away. So, nice little App State basketball quarter zip. We'll pass this around, sign-in sheet, we'll cut it up, we'll have a drawing at the end. So, yeah, just a little impromptu kind of giveaway there.
I love it. It's a great quarter zip.
A special thanks to
Nike
everybody
dry
that came
fit.
out.
Yeah, absolutely. So someone is going home today with a nice quarter zip from head coach Dustin Kerns. All right, we were just talking with Chad Moodie. He said you were on him since a double-double that he had several years ago against South Alabama. What do you remember about first seeing him?
Well, we were scouting South Alabama. He had a double-double and played really well, and then he did not enter the portal, so obviously. But this year, when he entered the portal, we went after him right away. First of all, Chad's a great fit for our program, a great kid, great student, good player, great parents in Clive and Tanya Moodie. And, one thing about Chad is, a lot of people don't know this. This April, he had a major shoulder surgery. And so I really think that he's had some big moments for us lately. He's going to continue to have big moments. But that was a big deal, not doing anything for 4 months. But Chad Moody's a really good player, and we're thrilled that he's in our program. And, the last 5 or so games, he's been a big part of our success. He's 8 for 8 from the field. He's 100% from the field, 100% from the free throw line. He's had some great blocks, but just a great fit, and we feel like his best basketball is ahead of him.
No doubt. He was big in the win against Georgia Southern, and I think what we've noticed here down the stretch is when your team gets contributions from him and Aaron Banks off the bench, it raises everyone.
We're hard to beat, yeah, no doubt.
When you have a guy like Chad Moodie who's coming off surgery in the spring, what is it like to get him into the mix, to get him ready for the start of the season? Is there anything that you're kind of coaching differently when you have a guy in that setting?
Well, and he worked really hard, right? Like, that's a serious surgery. He worked really hard with recovery with our training staff and our doctors, but he wasn't cleared to go 5-on-5 full until late October, and so I remember our first scrimmage, there was almost a minute restriction. So, but that's a long time of not, the player development side so big, and especially with us in the summer, and so he missed out on a lot of reps, but he is now, finding his rhythm, and it really been a big boost and big help us. Obviously, he started 7 games for us this year and was worthy of that. And so we're really excited about Chad finishing this season strong as he's doing right now, and then obviously getting an off season of true development, which is going to be big in our program.
We talked, he and I, about his shot blocking abilities, and I'm sure that's something that also stood out to you. Have you placed an increased value on that attribute, if you will, as you've seen the last several seasons, and you've seen just a lot of great shot blockers, Luke Wilson included this season, have such an impact on the way your team defends?
Yeah, that's something we really can't teach. Like, you're either good at it, you've got great timing, you've got great length, obviously some of his physical ability, but like Chad, he's got great length, but he's also got great timing with it. And so that's really hard for us. We don't teach shot blocking. And so you're either good at it or you're not. And so we've been fortunate to have some good shot blocks. But absolutely, when you've got some rim protectors, like Chad Moodie, like a Luke Wilson, that's a big thing defensively.
Looking back on this past week at home, a high-scoring game down to the wire against Marshall, and then a big-time win against Georgia Southern to cap off the home season. When you look back at the offensive performance, I don't know that there have been that many games in your tenure where your team has averaged 90 points in a week against Sun Belt teams. Certainly some of that's the opposition and how they play, but a lot of that has to be the way your team has grown offensively. What have you seen in that regard?
Yeah, we're certainly going to just take what the defense gives you. I think everybody's got different styles. we're going to play a very different style this Friday at Texas State. But certainly we've got really capable scorers. I feel like we found different ways to win. We can win a high-scoring game. We can win a grinded-out session game. And so whatever our opponent, whatever kind of the game kind of takes a life of its own, we're going to, try to figure it out. But, yeah, we had some really big scoring games this past weekend. I don't know if we've ever had a game where we scored the 90s and not won until this week. But that's the game of basketball, and that's the way it goes. And I told our guys on Friday, like, you can do everything right and show up and this ball still not bounce your way. But we've got to continue to show up, do everything that we can, and the ball will bounce our way when it really matters.
No doubt. All right, just getting started with head coach Dustin Kerns, and we will talk about the week ahead, a bye, and then finishing out conference play Friday night at Texas State. That's coming right up. App Nation, get ready. Young the Giant is bringing the energy to the Holmes Convocation Center on March 26th. Don't miss your chance to see one of the biggest names in alt rock live right here in Boone. Tickets going on sale soon. Stay tuned and be ready to grab yours today. It's Mountaineer Talk, and more of it continues right after this. All right, welcome back to River Street Ale House and Mountaineer Talk as we get ready to close out the show. Are we drawing now, or do you want to save it a little bit for the very end? All right,
up to you.
We'll have it be part of your sign-off.
Okay.
We'll keep the audience waiting just a few more minutes as we talk about a big week ahead. First, there isn't an opponent either tonight. I guess there's a few games, and then tomorrow. How important is it to have a bye at this juncture of the season where you could potentially be playing just one game in the next 13 days?
Yeah, I think it's good. Each team in the Sun Belt has 1 week where they play at East versus West, and you kind of have your bye week, which you have one game that week. Ironically, ours is this week. I think everybody else has had theirs, and so there are a lot of games tonight. I think there's 6 games tonight. And so, obviously, those are all, at this point of the year, meaningful, and, will determine a lot of the things. But, we've got to, certainly go to, San Marcos and against a really good, hot Texas State team who I think's won, 6 of the last 7 games. And compete against them on their home floor and a well-coached team. And so we get a chance to kind of, regroup, rest a little bit. But I like the extra time this part of the year.
What is the preparation like? Is it any different having just one game to prepare for this week? How do you go about managing what Monday through Thursday looks like?
Yeah, we gave our guys a couple days off, Sunday, Monday, and then we started our normal week today. And we fly out Thursday, for I think we land in San Antonio and we'll bus over.
It's a big one. You guys win it and you clinch at least a share of the regular season title. There's an outside chance that App State locks up a share by virtue of other games by the end of the night on Wednesday, but certainly you'd love to do it with a win regardless on Friday. What does it mean to be playing in these sort of games that not only matter in terms of hanging a regular season banner, but when every seed line is so important in the postseason?
Well, that's what we want, right? We want to play in games that matter in February and March, and so we put ourselves in position, to win a regular season championship, and so it's obviously a big game on Friday, but certainly we put ourselves in position to, with a win, we, win a share of the regular season, which is a big deal.
As you've started to prep on Texas State, is there anything, I ask this because they're 15-1 at home this year, is there anything that stands out about how they play at home compared to on the road?
Yeah, we haven't quite put our finger on that yet. We talked about that earlier today. Obviously 15-1 at home is a loud stat, and credit to them. But certainly they've been playing good basketball at home, and we've got to find a way to disrupt that. And we've done that. We've gone on the road and won 7 true road games this year. And so we got to find a way to go and make it number 8.
All right. This week was Manager Appreciation Week. I know there's a whole host of guys that fill a lot of different roles on your manager staff. Just speak to what goes into that role and all that those guys do to help you guys be successful.
Well, very critical in our success. I went to the home center on Sunday. I usually go in for a couple hours on Sunday, just get a little peace and quiet and kind of get ready for the week. And we've got 3 players in there with one of our managers shooting and getting shots up. And so they're very involved and obviously invested in the basketball, and our players really like them. But big part of our success, we're very thankful for all of them and the job they do.
All right, the moment we've been waiting for.
All right, here we go. Here we go. All right, here we go.
This is for the Nike quarter zip.
Tammy Taylor.
Tammy Taylor, congratulations.
There you go. Nice little App State basketball quarter zip.
Well, that's a fantastic way to cap off Dustin Kerns' segment here on Mountaineer Talk. Coach, appreciate it. Good luck this week. Big one on Friday, and we look forward to having all of App Nation tuned in.
Well, thanks for everybody that came out to Ale House. Really appreciate it. Means a lot. A lot of y'all come every single week, and so it means a lot to us, and we appreciate the support. And let's go get one more.
Absolutely.
All right. Go Mountaineers, take the stairs.
Head coach Dustin Kerns with us tonight here on Mountaineer Talk, and while we know you're enjoying your time here at Ale House, make sure to also check out Town Tavern Blowing Rock for a great dining experience. They're open for lunch, dinner, and later, and have 19 flat-screen TVs for you to catch the game. They also boast the largest outdoor dining area in the High Country. Make sure to stop by Town Tavern Blowing Rock on your next trip to the High Country. We'll take a timeout, and we will wrap up Mountaineer Talk from River Street Ale House right after this. Welcome back to Mountaineer Talk here at River Street Ale House as we put a bow on this week's show. And again, thanks to the folks that joined us tonight, Riley Stoker and Chad Moodie. And of course, as always, head coaches Alaura Sharp and Dustin Kerns. If you missed any of our show, it's available later tonight in podcast form. Just check out the Nothing But an App State podcast channel. A busy week on the hardwood, wrapping up the regular season. The women home for 2 Wednesday night at 6:30 against Georgia Southern. It is a blackout night, so be sure to wear black to the home center on Wednesday, and also be sure to be in your seat at halftime for Stroll Night. It should be a lot of fun with the dance performance at halftime on Wednesday, and then honoring seniors on Friday night for Senior Day against Old Dominion at 6:30. The men on the road this week at Texas State following a bye in the midweek. There is other Sunbelt action tonight. A couple other teams in that crowded top of the Sunbelt standings. There's still 7 teams with an opportunity for at least a share of the Sunbelt title entering this final week of play. So it really is coming down to the wire. But Troy and Marshall both playing tonight. Of course, Texas State in that mix. South Alabama, they play tomorrow. Mountaineers and Bobcats, the 2 teams who have yet to have their bye, so they'll both be well rested. It should be a great game on Friday night in San Marcos. Tip-off at 8 o'clock against the Bobcats, 18-12. They are on the season, 10-7 in Sunbelt play. Our coverage begins at 7:30 as the Mountaineers go for a regular season title and their 20th victory of the year. Thanks to Rob Burlington here at River Street Ale House. Thanks as well to Charles Mintz back inside our network studios. I'm Matt Present saying so long, and thanks for joining us here tonight on Mountaineer Talk.